Hi, my name is Joey Espinosa. I'm a grow coach with Green Joy Ventures. Today in this video we're going to be explaining how an air-cooled reflector works. As you can see, I have one right behind me here in a grow tent. Take notice of the reflector being in the middle of the grow tent and ducting on both sides of the reflector. For those of you that are not sure what an air-cooled reflector is, these are the reflectors that usually are white and they have holes on both sides of them. If you go on our website, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So what does the air-cooled reflector do? Basically, it does exactly what it sounds like. It cools the light with air. So I have ducting here and I have ducting here. Also on one end of this, I have a fan. The fan is basically pushing air this way. When I turn the fan on, it's going to be pumping air out through this side. So what that does is it forces air to be pulled from here through the light and out of the tent. That's why I always have this on this side, because I always want to be pulling air through the reflector. Why do I want to be pulling air through the reflector? The reason I want to pull air through the reflector is that it's much easier to pull air through a reflector than to push air through a reflector. Because of the shape and the size of the reflector, it's very hard to get air to move through it efficiently when you're pushing. It's much easier to make it go through when you're pulling. Now, there's some things to this you might want to keep in mind. I've noticed that certain reflectors claim to be completely airtight and claim to be completely sealed. And I'm talking about the ones that have a lens or a piece of glass on the bottom of it. They usually are not completely sealed and they usually are not completely tight. This is not always correct. In that case, you may consider pushing the air through the reflector. So if you wanted to push air through this reflector, rather than having my fan on this right side, I would have my fan on this left side, and that's going to cause air to get pushed through the reflector. So why would I want to do that if it's not as efficient? The reason you would want to push is because it will help prevent smell from leaking out of your grow room. This is kind of an insider tip that not a lot of people know about. If you are pulling air through your reflector and you do not have a completely sealed lens or completely sealed bottom, you are going to be pulling in the air from your canopy, the air from your plants, going into the reflector and shooting right out of it. Even if you have a carbon filter, wherever you're exhausting that heat, you're going to be having that smell go with it too. So keep in mind, if you do not have a completely completely sealed reflector, you may be getting smell leaking out. Just keep that in mind. But overall, that's how your air-cooled reflector works. You have one ducting that's going to be pulling in the cold air. So this side would be connected to maybe a window, any sort of outdoor cold air source, and it's going to pull in, go to the light, which is producing the heat, and pull the light and the light's heat all the way through the reflector and spit it out the other side. So this other side would be connected to, again, maybe a window or any sort of room outside of your grow tent, so you can move the heat completely away from your grow tent. So one side is for the cold air, one side is for the hot air, and the whole purpose is to move air through the reflector to get the heat away from your plants. And that's how an air-cooled reflector works. If you have any questions, please go ahead and shoot a comment to us down below, and please be sure to like the video and give us any suggestions of how we can help you grow. Thank you.